You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
Now, before we get started, looking directly into this video, I just want to make a note to a lot of people here that I try to do my best every now and again to educate and to make Black people aware of cryptocurrency, of different things such as the digital ID and other things that the government was going to work on or try to implement during the time of the 2 years of the pandemic. They had a lot of trial and errors and a lot of things that they were sorting out, a lot of bugs and different things of that nature. Also, previously before then, back around, I want to say 2017, 2018, you had the United States government doing their best to scare the American people, the American public, away from cryptocurrency, threatening to throw people in jail and or prison, um, stating, all types of scare tactics in order to scare you away from potentially investing. And I stated to people the reason that they were doing that was because they were trying to get in. They were trying to find their way in so that they could find a way to monetize and make money directly off of it, just like they do everything else. Remember before, the government not they didn't outlaw, but they destroyed electric vehicles around the time of like the 70s. There was a certain electric car, some people who are old enough might know what it is that I'm talking about, but there was an electric car during the 70s, and there were only a specific amount that were made. These electric cars, they worked, they didn't have any problems, no type of issues. What the big three and the oil companies did is that they got together in order to annihilate those cars because they figured that there is not a way that they can monetize and or make money, that it was going to hinder or create an obstruction to the petro dollar, right? Because remember, the American dollar is not backed by silver or gold at all. So now when you look at the car companies, now everybody's talking about, oh yeah, we're doing electric, we got hybrid cars, we got electric trucks and all these other types of things. That's because they found a way to monopolize and monetize what it is that they were not trying to allow you to have. It's the exact same thing that they have literally done time and time and time and time again. So when you happen to see the FedNow, I'm just going to put out this reminder before July rolls up that this is the exact same basis as cryptocurrency.
In today's fast-paced world, time is money. More people, businesses, and organizations are demanding instant payments. That's why the Federal Reserve is developing the FedNow service, a safe and efficient instant payments infrastructure that will modernize the U.S. payment system. The FedNow service will give financial institutions the opportunity to innovate, enabling their customers to send and receive money in seconds, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Funds will settle between financial institutions in real time, which means there's no buildup of interbank obligations, and end users will have access to the funds in seconds. How will the FedNow service work? Imagine the owner of a coffee shop is running low on coffee beans and needs to schedule a quick delivery. She places an order, and the coffee bean company sends her a request for payment. She responds to the request for payment and pays for the coffee beans right then and there through an app from her credit union, which uses the FedNow service. Once she initiates the payment, her credit union screens the payment and sends an ISO 20022 compliant payment message, either directly or through a service provider to the FedNow service over the Federal Reserve's FedLine network. The FedNow service instantly validates the payment message and passes it along to the coffee bean supplier's bank. In real time, the supplier's bank confirms to the FedNow service that it intends to accept the payment, and the FedNow service debits and credits the master accounts of both the shop owners and the coffee bean supplier's financial institutions or the master accounts of their correspondents. The FedNow service also immediately sends a payment message with an advice of credit to the supplier's bank and notifies the shop owner's credit union that settlement is complete. Finally, the supplier's bank credits the supplier's account in near real time, making the funds available. The supplier's bank will have the option of sending a confirmation to the shop owner's credit union that the payment has been posted to the supplier's account, providing the coffee shop owner with certainty that the payment was received. The FedNow service will be designed to be flexible and support a broad range of potential use cases. Banks, credit unions, and other industry providers can use it as a springboard for innovation to support a range of applications such as account-to-account transfers and bill pay. For example, now imagine it's after hours and the shop owner gets a reminder that her car insurance bill is due today. She may be able to avoid a late fee by initiating a bill payment in her credit union app and selecting to pay it now. Later, she repays a friend for a pizza they shared using an app provided by her credit union that clears and settles through the FedNow service. With this service, banks and credit unions can remain competitive by offering the type of payment options customers increasingly expect in today's fast-paced world. The FedNow service will support flexible adoption, allowing financial institutions the option to work with aggregators, processors, and correspondents to adopt the service. Banks and credit unions will also have the option to adopt the full set of FedNow capabilities or sign on as a receive-only participant. The initial launch of the FedNow service will focus on core clearing and settlement capabilities. Additional features will be released in phases to meet evolving industry demands and changes in technology. Get ready for the FedNow service. Learn more at fednow.org.
You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
So I want y'all to pay attention. They literally told you within that video that they made this in order to give people the access to their money, right, as quick and as speedy and as possible. And they also did it in order to stay competitive. Who would they need to stay competitive to, right? Who would the feds need to stay competitive with, right? And again, I gave y'all a story earlier where it said Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa are working on developing a new cryptocurrency. You have other countries around the world that are also backing away from the dollar as well. So the United States government had to basically pivot in order to get certain things to transpire, right? So that, again, like they stated in the video, they need to stay competitive in this world where people expect yada, 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 yada. And then I told y'all to pay attention. Over the last 10 years, there has been an increasing rate of of men who are in crypto who have been getting erased just for whatever reason. They've magically been just disappearing, right? And nobody knows what happens to their money because usually a lot of these guys, they'll have their monies on, private keys, ledgers, or whatever it is, so that nobody can specifically get directly to it. There is a lot of money out there on the blockchain where people have lost their passwords and that money is in a sense just sitting there. It's accumulating along with the price of whatever cryptocurrency that is going up, going down, however it's getting traded, what have you. Again, look up the Cashapp founder. Look up specifically what it is that he was into, what it is that he was interested in, what it is that he was trying to do for the people, right? And what it is that he was going to implement. What was his dream, right? And again, notice they took him out. Why is that? Right? They just stated, oh, it was just, a random act. It was just, some random person, on the street. I'm not even sure at the moment in time, as of doing this video, that the person has even been caught. But again, magically around 2 something in the morning, this guy goes to the ATM or whatever, and this is what took place. Why would he even need to go to the ATM? Oh, he has, he is the founder of Cash App, right? I'm pretty sure he's into digital money. If you look back into one of his companies, he knows about digital currencies. So it's a little bit baffling to me to see somebody like this deciding that at 2 something in the morning, I want to go to the ATM in order to pull out funds. Yeah, that if that doesn't sound suspicious to anybody, I really don't know what is. And again, for anybody religious that's going to roll up here and start pulling up Bible verses, I'm not even here for it at this moment in time because, as I've stated, I've tried to list solutions as to how it is that Black people can decide to look into certain things and figure out things so that they can grow financially and different things of that nature, or just to learn how to use the technology. The blockchain has a wealth of information, a wealth of technology, which the systems that are in place at this moment in time, a lot of governments and entities around the world are trying to mimic and or copy or actually use, as in case in certain countries they're using this for voting so that they can make sure that things are not getting tampered with due to the fact that they have had fraudulent activity dealing with elections. And the other thing I want to mention as well is, if you're going to state that, oh, this is the mark of the beast, it's the end, yada yada yada, the same thing that people have been saying since before we were born, no problem. Just remember that the money that you have, go back and look at the back of it. It says, "In God we trust." Again, what God are they talking about? I don't know what God that they worship. I don't know what God specifically that they're talking about, but that's what's on the back of the money. Again, the money is not backed by gold or silver. So is your money actually physically tangible, or is that just a piece of paper that they gave you that just is an IOU? And then again, when you go to your bank, when you use a debit or a credit card, are you physically using $50, or are you using something that represents that $50? And in order for a transaction to be made, it has to be made through ones and zeros in between your card and that bank account to whatever register you decide that you want to buy something at. So if we're going to really start talking about stuff, we need to start looking at things in a bigger picture. If we're going to say that we, this is the mark of the beast, just acknowledge that you've been using the mark of the beast for a very, very long time. If you have the bank account, which I know everybody does, you've already been marked in one way or another. It just seems like people, just want to deny that as a fact, as if you're running around here with a bag full of gold or silver and precious metals and you're making your transactions that way. Again, regardless of whatever religious affiliations that you have or your belief directly in it, this is a case in point factor that the government has figured out a way to make money directly off of cryptocurrency, and they disguised the use of the blockchain and just called it something different so that you can accept it. Also to note that unlike with the blockchain, you don't have privacy here. If the federal government basically is able to do this 24/7, 365 days of the year, and yada, 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 and you accept the updates to your phone or whatever is going to take place in July, just note that they know every single transaction that you're going to make. Just note, if they want to basically stop your money or stop you to be able to spend, if there's any type of pandemic or whatever that happens in the future, they will be able to do that because now they will have pretty much full control over your money. It's not even just the banks that you got to worry about, shutting down. Now it's this, right? Because this is going to be connected to a lot of different things that you just so happen to use. But you know what? Like I said before, whatever. I could very easily be wrong, right? July is, a little bit off, and things could transpire. The American government could actually be doing something right now that is of the best interest for the people. But again, I would have to question, if this is for the best interest of the people, then why would you try to scare people away from the blockchain and cryptocurrency, which this is a direct copy, a direct lift off of?